Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We have with us Father Michael Schumacher, just like the race car driver, and he's taken on this role and this vocation of diocesan priesthood for the Diocese of Edmonton. And also joining him is his mother, Connie. She just happens to be here at this Vocations conference that we're at. And thank you for doing this interview, first of all.
My pleasure.
And I'd just like to invite you to talk a little bit about how you first discovered your vocation to diocesan priesthood, and then Connie, what your reaction to that was, at the time.
For me, it was when I was in college and was in a serious relationship, and it was about midway through my college, midway through that relationship, that one morning pretty much woke up and had this very bizarre tugging of the heart from God that was sort of calling me to diocesan priesthood, and it was pretty strong and clear but very confusing, and I remember my biggest reaction was just freaking out about that, not knowing what to do or not.
Was it tough letting go, like of what you had, if you were in a relationship before?
Yeah, it didn't make sense to me. That was part of it, right? How could I be called to this, or how could God want me to do this when I'm in a relationship that's very serious, and I'm in college, I'm midway through college, so it didn't make sense to me whatsoever. And I mean, it was a new experience. No experience like that had ever happened with me before with God, so it was very, very unique.
Wow. Okay, and what was your reaction, Connie, when you first heard about this?
Yeah, I would say it was quite a surprise. When he was a child, I always thought he'd be in vocation, but as he grew older and he was in a relationship, and he was quite serious about this relationship, so it kind of surprised me in the middle that all of a sudden he's saying, I need to discern this, and so I thought at that time we needed to talk to somebody that knew something about priesthood, and because I knew that they had to go through that kind of discernment as well for themselves.
Right, so who did you talk to?
She had suggested a longtime family friend, a priest who had known her family for quite a long time. So we called him up, and he agreed to meet with us, and we had a couple-hour conversation over coffee and cookies about it, and he just kind of helped to put, I think, the intensity of that call at ease a little bit, and just sort of say, if it's authentic, it won't go away, put it on the back burner, deal with your life as it is, and just, it was great. He sort of put everything at ease and helped me kind of step back a little bit from that, like I said, that intensity.
Wow. So as a parent, though, what were some of the insights that stood out for you along the way as you were learning more about this vocation?
My prayer was more not so much that make him a priest or make him not a priest. It was more like help him to discern who he is called to be, and allow him to be in that vocation if that's the case. And I know lots of parents worry about no more grandchildren and things like that. That didn't cross my mind, because I just think when you see your children full, it's great, and even if they get married, there's no guarantee that there's going to be grandchildren,
like for me, the great thing as well was I just know that even while I was discerning, like there was no sense that if I didn't become a priest, or if I did, like there wasn't going to be disappointment either way, and I just felt supported. That throughout that whole process, which was great. It's just kind of okay. You need to do what God is calling you to, and you need to make every effort, but we're with you, whatever that is. So that was a great help, from family.
Okay. Was there things in particular that your mom did, or times when she was there, key moments other than the phone call that you look back and say, wow?
Like one of the things was when I went to the seminary, actually, it was the closest I'd been to home that I'd lived in 5 years about, and because I'd been away in another city for college, and then out of town for small Bible school, and then when I went to the seminary, it was in our home city more or less. And the funny thing was, at the seminary there was a big running joke, because the person who would call or show up the most sort of unannounced was my mother. So she'd be like, Michael, it's your mother, it's your mom again, and
she brought your lunch.
So that was kind of this joke. But I mean, at the one sense it was kind of funny, but at the same time it was appreciative, because I know that even though as busy as I was in the seminary, they were concerned about me, and they were obviously, they wanted to be around me, and so I felt very supported.
Now, knowing just a little bit about your background, some people think you need to come from the perfect family, to have a vocation, to consecrated life for the priesthood or other vocations. But from my understanding, you're separated from your husband, right, Connie?
Yes.
And so, how did that impact your vocation, or influence it in any way?
Yeah, from me, it was that family crisis which provided an opportunity, and maybe I would say kind of an impetus, a spark for me to take a step back from life and evaluate what was valuable and what was important, and who I was. I'd never looked at those questions before. I just I think was going with the flow of society and really not questioning anything. And then all of a sudden, when this happens, it sort of threw everything that I thought was important or had sought in life into question. It kind of called all of that into question, which was not an easy thing to kind of come to grips with, but at the same time, it was extremely valuable that I was able to have a place and to kind of say, wow, who am I, and what am I going to do with my life, and what is life about, and what's important, what's valuable.
And what was it like for you, Connie, as things were kind of developing this direction? I mean,
well, it
your
was quite a
experience?
surprise to begin with, and it took all of us by great surprise. And it was a time where I think I had to really look and say, all right, my children are watching me. Where's my faith? Had to face community that I had grown up with and lived with, and being able to make that stand and say, no, I still believe, and there's going to be good coming out of this, and praise God in everything. That's always been our theme. So I praised Him and just believed that something good was going to come out of it. I didn't understand.
It did bring us closer together as well.
Yeah.
The rest of us needed to support one another. So our family group, the remainder of our family grew pretty tight-knit as a result of that. And I don't think we took each other for granted, maybe like we might have in the past a little bit, just sort of, I think it just helped strengthen that community. And we shared a lot basically in those times.
And we just believed we were still family. Just because somebody had decided to leave didn't mean we weren't family. And I think that was an important realization for us, that we still could support and we could still be together.
Right.
And that was for us, I think it was a very big step.
Wow.
And God has continued to bring many good things out of that.
Okay, and as you lived the first 2 years of your priesthood and look back on that time, can you talk about some of the good things that have come, into your life at this point?
Yeah, it's an amazing, I don't know, maybe the word adventure kind of comes to mind. There's so much that's hard to, even over 2 years, and some days it seems like yesterday that I was ordained, and others it seems like years, because I think one of the things that I cherish the most is just to celebrate the Mass. That's a great gift and a beautiful gift to actually, I don't know how to express that enough. The other thing that's I find really profound is just the intimacy of working with people on a daily basis, on often some of the most beautiful or the most difficult times or places of their life, and you have an opportunity to work with people on a level that I think I've never experienced anywhere else, and that's pretty profound. Like for me, a lot of the fears of the priesthood were sort of revolving around intimacy or family, and I think that in the parish and working with people, you have a sense of that in a way that I never, with more people than I could have ever thought possible.
Wow.
Yeah, so in some ways, I see how celibacy frees one to be able to do that.
And Connie, having observed him, in the first couple of years of his ministry, what are some of the things that you're noticing?
Well, I'm noticing how much he's growing and how much he's matured, and just how he looks at life. It's, and how he has shared with me. I've grown in faith with him as well, and I think he's helped our family, my daughter and her children grow. So I just very proud of him.
Wow. Okay. Well, I wish you well as you continue to grow in your priesthood.
Thank you
And
very much.
there's so much to be grateful for, isn't there, along the way. Thank you for doing this interview, and I wish you well too, Connie, as you continue to grow as a family.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome.
All right.
Okay. Thank you. You bet.